Hello humans, it's me Evermore Sol, and welcome back to my channel. For today's message, we have a collective reading based off of the stars and astrology and everything that's been happening this past weekend, moving on to next week. That will be impacting us essentially until October. So that's going to be including Saturn retrograde, the full moon eclipse happening on May 26th, as well as Mercury retrograde. So originally I wasn't going to do anything. I got sick and I've just been tired and exhausted, but for some reason this just kept coming through, like do a reading on this, do a reading on this, do a reading on this. And so that's what I'm doing, but I'm doing a collective message. I know the picker cards are more popular, but I don't think they are necessary all the time. Sometimes I think a collective message, especially with energy as strong as this, suffices. And I'm not going to be going into detail about each one of these things. I feel like there's already so much noise about them. It's not exactly necessary, and I'll be speaking about it somewhat as we move through this collective message. And if it finds you, then I'm pretty sure this is going to be simply confirmation, because I'm sure people are already seeing the influence of all of these planets and everything that's happening in their lives already. So I'm going to start off with the moon card. So we have the full moon in Scorpio. It's time to release negativity. New moon eclipse. Expect powerful change. Emotions are running high. Super moon, as well as don't let pride get in your way. Full moon in Leo. So to me, especially when I'm thinking about this full moon, the super moon, the eclipse, as well as the Saturn retrograde, there is just simply a lot of things falling out of alignment so we can fall into alignment, if that makes any sense. In my own personal life, I've been feeling certain things that are falling out of alignment and simply aren't serving and doing what I need them to do. And so I slowly feel them falling out of alignment, falling out of my vibration, and eventually it's going to get to the point where it just simply falls out of my life. And by all of these things falling away, I realized that I in turn am falling into vibration. It's not just about releasing negativity, it's about releasing, especially with the Saturn retrograde, structures that we have built from our ego. Basically them falling apart so we can move on and build with our divine self, with our higher self, our inner being, things that are actually aligned with what we're meant to do. This powerful change, and this is tying, I feel like it's tying to something I saw recently. It's a mambo I follow on Instagram, and I remember her saying, humans, we mainly influence one another. And when she spoke about that, I had to stop and think and digest, because she's the type, when she speaks, you have to really let it digest, and especially make sure it fits in your belief system. And so I thought about that, and I thought about it, and I'm like, when you really boil down to it, what we really do when we interact with one another, it's influence each other to some degree, whether it is inspirational influence, motivational influence, or is a bad influence, encouraging you to do something that is not beneficial to you, or to move in a way that is not truly in alignment with you. And I feel like most of us, especially if you've been moving from a place of ego rather than from your own spirit, we have been more so building lives to satisfy essentially the influences that have been brought into our life, rather than looking inside of ourselves and seeing what is it that my inner being and my spirit desires. I feel like a lot of us, and I'm including myself, have been moving more so from ego, from society and society's influences, and I feel a lot of us are starting to break away, which Saturn retrograde is giving you no choice but to look at these structures you have currently in your life and ask yourself, are these the structures I want to continue with? Are these the structures that are aligning for my greatest benefit, for my highest self, for my I'm hearing my perfect frequency, my perfect vibration. And I feel like we each have, it's a certain vibration that you sit at where it's like that's the golden spot for you, per se. And a lot of emotions are going to be running high because a lot of us we're already about to have this powerful change, because Saturn going retrograde is saying, you thought these structures were working for you. Well, guess what? They're actually not. We have to move into what is actually, what you desire, this divine flow. We'll get to that. So emotions are running high because a lot of us are realizing like a lot of things that we built up, we didn't actually build up because we wanted it. Again, it's because that's what we thought we wanted because of how we've been influenced by society and other people. And so emotions are a little tense, especially, we're in Mercury retrograde shadow, but, it's creeping up slowly but surely. And so we're going to be spending a lot of time reflecting on these structures. Saturn just saying if something's not working, it's probably going to be feeling wobbly. It's probably going to be feeling a little shaky. And Mercury retrograde, you're going to have and I say this numerous times because that's how you figure things out on your own. Because, at the end of the day, it's really all about you. We're going to have to communicate and be honest with ourselves, but also the people around us, because it's not only, careers that could be falling away. It could be possible relationships, friendships, really anything that has more so been built on ego rather than your inner divine being. It's not going to work. It's just simply not. It's not going to be long lasting. I'm pretty sure about the time October comes, most of our lives are going to look different if they're not already changing right now. And we also have this full moon in Leo. Don't let pride get in your way. So a lot of us as humans, even though we don't know a lot, we like to think that we actually do have more knowledge than we truly do have. Most of the time, if you've been spending, I'm hearing, years working on something, you want to believe that you've been doing this because that's what you truly want. So getting this realization that you haven't been doing it because that's what you want, you've been doing it because of the influence of society and the people around you, could really hurt your ego. Like I said, especially if you've been building from a place of ego more than anything else. And I'm also speaking to myself, so don't think I'm just talking to you. That is going to hurt a little bit. We already have these high conflicting emotions because we're feeling conflicted, because we know some things are going to change, but your ego's also going to be hurting as well. But what Spirit is really trying to convey to us, and these planets, the energy surrounding them, are really trying to convey, is use this for your benefit. We're not throwing all this energy at you for you to suffer or for you to essentially feel like you're drowning. Because I'm hearing that some people, you might be feeling like you're drowning, but just having all these realizations come to you with all of this energy. We are giving you this energy, and we want you to use this energy surrounding the planets for your benefit. We also have this frequency card. It says emergence. The frequency of emergence invites us to approach our reality with a childlike attitude of innocence and wonderment, and to watch and celebrate the beauty that unfolds from that place. We need to realize that, and I've seen this time and time again, when it feels like things are falling apart, and your life doesn't have to be in shambles for it to feel like things are falling apart. I've realized things are usually falling into alignment. Like I said, a lot of things are falling away so we can fall into alignment. Try to look at things, even if it's hard now, look at them from a different perspective. If you feel like, oh my God, this career that I put so much effort and work into, deep down, I don't even know if I want it anymore. I don't even know if I want to continue to do this. I don't even know if I want to stay in this relationship. Don't think of it as this thing that you made a mistake and if you wasted all this time, all this energy, all these resources. No. See the beauty that was in it. For instance, even if it's something you no longer want, there's still beauty in it. There is still some positive aspects to it. You learned something from it. Nothing is there are mistakes, but everything really does happen for a reason. And when you're able to view things from a perspective like that, you build up your resilience to simply keep moving through life. The biggest thing about life is simply knowing how to get back up when you feel a little shaken up. I don't want to say when you get knocked down, because you only get knocked down when you allow yourself to get knocked down, but to instead just take the time to view if something is falling apart, then in reality, that means something is falling together, falling in alignment, falling into this place that's going to be better for you. And I know some people may roll their eyes when they hear that, but that is simply the truth. If something leaves your life, it is for a reason, and that means something better is coming. I know people are probably rolling their eyes, but that is the truth, whether you believe it or not. And that is something I'm going to choose to believe in. So please don't try to argue in the comments, because I just won't respond. But that is just we're emerging into this newer version of ourselves, and we're going to be having this intense transformation. And transformation is not always pretty. I'm really thinking a lot of us are like those kind of like the icky caterpillars that are really getting like too big, and it's just time for them to go ahead and get in that cocoon so they can go ahead and shed everything and transform into this beautiful butterfly. I don't think we really talk about the ickiness of transformation at times. Sometimes it gets messy, sometimes it's not the most enjoyable, but on the other side, we have all of this beauty. We have divine source, divine flow, and gratitude. Divine source says, help me know that all my deepest needs will be met. Let me trust that you have a plan and the right actions will come. You are my source for all. You are my source for all. Realize the divine is the source for all. I've had to tell myself that so many times when I feel like I'm either running out of something, or I'm running out of time, or all these things. I have to remind myself, like, the divine is the source for all. God is the source for all. No matter how much we want to think that we as humans are the ones putting out all of this stuff, really everything comes from source. Remember that, because I feel like I want a lot of you to remember that, because that's going to be your comfort. It comes from source. Everything is coming from source. All of your needs will be met. There is a plan in place, and all the actions you are taking is leading you to your greater good, because the truth is God, source, the divine, whatever you want to call it, has nothing but your best interest. That is the truth. Divine flow says eventually one sublime desire takes precedence over all others. To follow the Tao, the divine flow at all costs. You're going to get to the point where it's going to be like, I cannot accept anything that is not meeting my standard, that is not meeting where I want to flow in life, where I want to go in life, that is not meeting my expectations. If you're not meeting this level, it's going to get to the point where, like, if a person or if something in your life is not meeting a certain level of bringing you in a certain amount of joy or satisfaction, it's going to get to the point where it will no longer be accepted. And I feel like I'm hearing some of you are already to that point. It's no longer being accepted. And it's because we all are meant to go down a path where we experience happiness, ease, and abundance, because that's what life is supposed to be. And if there is something that is bringing you the opposite, suffering, fear, then it's not going to work, because your inner being, when we have this huge shift, we're going to know what our worth is. And all of us are worthy as soon as we come out of the womb. It's going to get to the point where you just accept that as fact. And so everything that doesn't accept that about you is going to fall away. And I said this before, but if you're in the US, I'm pretty sure you've seen some articles, or maybe I said it in a reading that I'm going to release in the future. I'm pretty sure it might have been the one I pre-recorded, but regardless, it's been a lot of news articles talking about how there's not enough workers to fill up the jobs that are coming out. And they're blaming everything but the root of the issue. And the root of the issue is that there are so many employers that do not see their employees as worthy. It's really as simple as that. Because, you know, sometimes, you know, I've been told this because I'll get stressed about something, usually about work. And even when I got really, really sick this week, the first thing is like, oh my God, I don't want to call off work. And then I got reminded, okay, well, if you drop dead, not saying this to alarm anybody or speak ill, but if you drop dead, would that company really care? You know, that's sometimes you have to have the mentality. An employer in a company is going to value you as much that you give value to them work-wise. Anything outside of that is irrelevant. And I realize that may sound very harsh, but as, again, I'm speaking from a US perspective, companies are going to value you as long as you give them worth. If you can't bring them any more value, if it's something going on in your life that doesn't bring them value, they're not going to care. And that's part of the reason I personally believe that there are so many quote unquote shortages happening. It's not because there aren't people willing to work. It's just a lot of people are waking up and realizing their value and realizing that they're not just this body that's supposed to act like a robot and do everything that's being told to them to exist, you know, for the right to live, for the right to money that we should have just because we exist and we're human. It's going to get to the point where if you're in a relationship and it's not bringing you happiness and all you're doing is arguing and the other person isn't seeing how you are worthy of love and worthy to be cherished, and you know you are worthy of all those things because the divine loves you so much, and you know you're an amazing person, and if this person can't catch up to that, then what is the point? Then you're going to be like, okay, well, somebody else who sees all these amazing attributes in me is going to step up to the plate. It gets to the point where we no longer are going to keep resisting against the flow and against divine truths. We're going to simply go into the divine flow and say, right, that is the truth, and we're just going to go with it. Which is going to lead to a lot of shakeup and a lot of, I want to say, societal structures, because a lot of us are going to start waking up to the truth. And now we got gratitude. Fill me with gratitude for all you give. May I be a vehicle for you wherever I go. Life gets very, very simple. Content a lot, you know, it gets simple, you get happy when you realize all of these truths and you find gratitude in all of them. Because when you realize these truths, you realize there's a lot to be grateful for. Because you start realizing your worth. The more and more you realize of, you know, how much you deserve just by existing, and then you see all of these things play out into your life when you accept these truths, you can feel nothing but gratitude, because you're going to be looking at your life and you're going to be like, it was this easy all along. It was this easy all along. I'm going to end it off with one more card, specifically a tarot card to just end this message. Okay? The Tower. Oh, this would be the card to come out. Like I said, a lot of us are having just these, I heard, upheavals and just transformations in our lives, but honestly at the best time and in the best way possible, I'm hearing. Even if you can't see it right now, at the best time and the best way possible. I will say I'm picking up on nervousness, but I'm not sure if that's you all or if it's me, because I'm currently having a upheaval and transformation in my life. So if you feel like you're going through it alone, you're not. And I just want to remind us all that no matter what, the divine is with us every step of the way, and we can accomplish anything we want to put our mind to, because we are limitless and we are never alone. And repeat a couple affirmations with me, please, because I'm getting called to do that. Anything falling away is allowing me to fall into alignment. Anything falling away is allowing me to fall in alignment. The divine is with me every step of the way. The divine is with me every step of the way. I am entering the best chapter of my life. I am entering the best chapter of my life. Go ahead and take a really big deep breath in. Open mouth, exhale. I hope whoever watched this enjoyed this impromptu reading that I felt called from Spirit to do. Thank you all so much for watching. We are entering the best chapters of our lives, and the divine is always with us. Have a blessed day and a beautiful life.